This is the first city I built in City Skylines 2. I abandoned it 504 days ago due to many problems, including traffic and many other indicators, leading me to make many questionable decisions such as this bridge on-ramp, and eventually getting me demotivated and leaving the city behind for good. But today I'm back to try to fix all these things, make the city function, and hopefully even make it look better. Let's start with a quick overview. I remember that I started the city over here in this area. That's why there's a lot of low density here. This was way before Economy 2.0 update, and it meant that you had a lot of low density demand and no demand for higher density. I placed down a lot of industry. I even got most of it in the right wind direction, which is good. But there's still traffic problems, there are ground pollution problems, there is a train station that isn't well connected, and overall it's just a lot of urban sprawl that is even more not that well connected with the other parts of the city. Down here I wanted to make some sort of tourist area right here at this beautiful cove. It has buses driving along, but these buses are basically empty and it just uses a lot of these special buildings, and it has destroyed buildings probably from a tornado. I should really try to make this area way more attractive to get tourists in. Back then I think there was the problem that just tourists didn't exist in the game, so tourists never visited your city. After all the problems piling up in this part of the city where I started, I just thought, well, let's build new parts of downtown when I unlock the higher density buildings. So I zoned these massive grids, but there are massive traffic problems over here with tons of traffic jams. I tried to build a more organic high density area right over here, not in a grid style but with more curved roads. It also has many traffic problems. And then the Golden Gate Bridge connecting over to the industry area, which even has a passenger and a cargo harbor. The harbor I think is quite nice, but then all these things don't fit that well together. And because of all these traffic jams, there were people missing in this industry area, so workers. So I just zoned more low density housing over here for workers to easily get to work. So we can see there are a lot of problems. Let's start along this highway and move east to west. The first interchange we have right here looks quite okay, but then it immediately moves into an area that doesn't really look good, with all these irregular sized industries. Then the roads move into the industry area. There's a landfill right here, and these buildings are complaining about ground pollution. Let's try to fix those first. Looking at the pollution levels, these buildings are just way too close to the industry area. But instead of removing these, I'm going to rezone some of that industry area and replace it with some parks just along here, some pedestrian streets crossing through, and then adding a lot of vegetation to just make the view a bit nicer. This alone should probably make the ground pollution problem go away quite soon, but we can also just decrease the density of the industry here a tiny bit by just drawing in surfaces. These may be buildings that will soon be built or buildings that were here in the past. That should decrease the pollution as well, and we can even make that area usable, adding a few more tanks and some industry machinery. I don't think that these actually produce pollution. And this patch right here is just used for storing stuff. So I just added a few props along this plot. This side over here looks quite nice as well. So we already improved the visuals of this area. I'm unsure how fast ground pollution will actually decrease, but maybe just to be safe, let's also throw in a parking lot just right here, one with solar panels. Interestingly enough, I don't think it actually produces electricity, but that's not the main point here anyway. So we broke up this industry area a bit. And then I already see what really annoys me visually is this power line going across here and just the visuals of this intersection. Let's take a look. So the power line comes from this coal power plant. It only produces 22 megawatts, which the small cables under the road can transport. So I think there's no need for these power lines. So I'm just going to get rid of them. And now let's improve the visuals of this square. First, I'm again adding some walkability with a path, as well as another one right here. Let's add some rocks just to spice things up. And we can even add some flower pots along the path. just for some added details. Let's also add a playground, a fountain in the middle of these row houses, and then again a few trees to make it look nice. This building here got destroyed. Let's rebuild it with a parking lot, just a small one. We have a lot of empty buildings here, but they are also rezoning now. With that, we already fixed the visuals of a pretty large area. I'll just repeat the same thing with the rest of the residential area in this part of town. I just see that this elementary school is all the way at capacity. Let's try to fix that, and let's do that with districts. We already have some. Let's just expand these. Basically, I just made 3 districts. One here, small one for the gated community, one giant one, and another one here for the tourist area. Let's first get their demand for education filled. We currently only have this one elementary school in this area. Let's select the operating district for it as just this part of town and see what happens. Then let's build a separate one for suburbia right here. We can squeeze in one right here. I generally like this building. It even has parking spaces, and we allocate it to this district. Let's throw in another small elementary school for this district. Here I'm already quite sure we won't reach capacity because this is all just low density buildings. So this should be fine. Let's expand the elementary school in this district, and we can even throw in the playground. This is still slowly filling up, so let's add another small elementary school just right here, and of course select the district for it. With that, we have all the elementary school for this district set up, and then we only have the large one left over where there was the original school. Let's first expand it with a clinic. Let's put it all the way over here just to give the block a more beautiful layout. And then we still need more capacity. Let's try to fill that with a city elementary school right here where there's more of the medium density housing. We can even throw in a playground, and let's also throw in the extension wing just to be safe. That should fill all the demand so far. And the great thing is we don't really have to care for money that much because, well, we are making a ton of money. With that, it's also winter. I really hate the winter visuals, but oh well. And surprisingly, this school is even filling up all the way. So we even need another elementary school. Let's use another one of the urban elementary school right here, where's the medium density buildings. With that, we have school demand set up in this area of town. Now let's move on to healthcare. We only have one clinic right here. Let's select an operating district for it, and then let's do the same thing. Let's build dedicated buildings for the different parts of town and hope that that solves our issues. I've added a few more clinics around, and that so far resolved all the problematic indicators. So healthcare is also fixed in this area. So the medical problems are fixed now, but going back to the first problem we tried to solve, it seems like it didn't really get resolved so far, which kind of annoys me. So let's just resolve it by unzoning this part and then adding another park here, and maybe even play around a bit with the surface tool that has all these indicators resolved. Lastly, let's add a road maintenance depot. And with that, we have all the issues in this area resolved. These here are just from a traffic jam, so that's fine. Let's move over to the tourist area right here. Let's see if we have some special buildings available for it. There's this new Mediterranean housing that just got added today. Let's try to make use of that right here. It probably looks quite nice and should really fit this shoreline area. Let's hope it zones in and we will come back for it later. Good thing the snow is also melting, so we're back to having green in our sight. Oh, and just as I thought I was finished, I think a tornado or like something hit here. There's now a ton of weather damage for some reason. I'm not sure where it's coming from, and it's gone again. That was weird. Probably some paradox glitch. There are a bunch of traffic accidents from it. Let's ignore it. And let's maybe fix some of the visuals from this grid by just adding some roads going out from it. And then we can just increase the farm area back here. Maybe add a bit of forestry, some livestock, and just another grass surface right there to make it look a bit more interesting. This already makes the grid look a lot less grid-like, and I think we can move further along the highway. So these two exits both lead to the part that we already improved. and now it gets really chaotic. First of all, this interchange has a massive problems. All these cars want to go down here. I don't even remember where this goes. So this exit leads right here into the city on just like a local road. This is of course a problem. This part of town has a separate interchange, which is up here, which is also clogged up. And then there's another interchange back here, which is also clogged up. I think this one back here could be the easier one to resolve first. I see there are traffic lights. Let's get rid of those. This should make all these cars already move down way faster. And then let's make this intersection a little less chaotic by adding a new one back here and removing this cross street. And then I think we can also remove these traffic lights, and that should get traffic flowing a bit better. I mean, this looks crazy, but I feel like the traffic from the intersection is already flowing way better. Let's maybe even upgrade this off-ramp. Let's take the end of the highway and move it a bit further. And let's create a new off-ramp to go right to the end here. So if cars want to go to this low density area, they can just drive straight through the highway. A few cars are starting to do that. And this exit is already cleared up. This also makes this interchange way less crazy. And let's also replace the lost connection here with a pedestrian path, so we can have people crossing over here, especially to this elementary school that is filled to the brim. And now here traffic is flowing very well. With that fixed, let's move one intersection further back right here, where we have quite similar problems. Let's first add just one more lane on the off-road, remove traffic lights, and maybe we can add a one-way road segment here, just like that, so people could circumvent this roundabout. Let's remove the traffic lights here, and I don't want people going left from this side, and also I don't want pedestrian crossings. Let's see if this helps. And then I think there are too many people crossing here over the roundabout, so we really need a pedestrian bridge. It is quite difficult to fit one in here. Maybe we can get the pedestrians to go under the street. Let's add like a walking street under the roundabout, and then let's see if we can connect that somewhere up here. This was a lot of trouble to build, but people can now use these pedestrian tunnels, and they just lead to this cross down here where they can go to any other side. But even with this infrastructure existing, people are just crossing here. This is so annoying. Like, you give them the space and they just still use the roundabout and not really these pedestrian paths. And all these tunnels are being used, but it's just that people just want to run over this roundabout here. Maybe this is realistic, but not with this much traffic. And you have an easy option. I guess there's not really much I can do about it. But on a positive note, the traffic on this interchange is fixed. So there's no more traffic jam here. The next traffic jam is the one I have right here. This was a solution I built to resolve the other one. But since this exit is now better, we don't need this DIY solution. They should now all drive up here and hit this roundabout where the pedestrians are hopefully walking under the street and not crossing like those. These fixes should resolve the traffic that is coming from this side here as well, because this is just coming back from the traffic jam from up here. Now what we need to fix is this side. This exists because of all these cars going down here and entering into the city on that side. Let's also just try to remove that option, because it should lead to all the people funneling right here and using this interchange that we have already fixed, and traffic here is looking quite okay. In the meantime, while I hope that all these traffic jams resolve themselves by going through this interchange, let's fix education and healthcare in this district the same as we did over here. I have just made one large district for it. Let's start with education. We have an elementary school right here. Let's select the district. We have a second one, and the rest are colleges and universities. So we still need more of the elementary schools, but we can easily add that. Also include the upgrades. Let's see if 2 will fix it. Probably not. These are filling up really fast. Let's add another community elementary school. Let's maybe add an urban elementary school. I really like this asset as well. You can also add all the upgrades for it. I mean, look at it. This is a really nice building. It even has colors and it's already 100% filled. So let's just add another one. And with this, we should probably be fine. Let's move over to healthcare. We have this hospital. Let's assign it also just to this area. Let's add a helipad and let's also just throw in all the upgrades. This is a fully maxed out hospital now, but it seems like we need more. Let's get in one here in the middle and another one here where there's a lot of the demand. Also, don't forget to assign them to the districts. And we're also struggling with death care availability. We can just throw in a crematorium next to the healthcare clinic. And let's also put a crematorium right here, close to the hospital. Select the operating district. And this hopefully resolves all these problems here. We have some issues with garbage collection. So let's give this area its own recycling center just right here. That should help it a bit. And now let's fill this big empty area that we still have. Add a somewhat interesting road layout to it. Also connected with pedestrian paths, just so people can cross. And maybe we have less cars in the first place. Let's throw in a climbing center as well as a sports facility. And then we finish off the entire area with a bunch of trees. I think all of it already looks way better. Healthcare is resolving. I think the trash problem is also resolving. I just see that we have a bit of traffic jam again. It might be just of this accident right here, but this is a massive traffic accident. Let's just monitor it and see what happens. Hopefully this gets resolved soon. And in the meantime, let's move over to this area. It already looks quite nice, but it has the same issues. Let's create a district for it. Feel free to suggest names in the comments if you want to name a district here. It has the same healthcare problems. Let's assign the crematorium for it. Then let's give it its own medical clinic, a modern one. Give it all the upgrades, assign it to the district. That should hopefully solve the health issues here. And then there's also a large traffic jam. We have this highway running here into this roundabout. Let's quickly see what's going on here. We might have a similar issue here with the pedestrian crossing. Let's try something else. Let's remove it here and add a new one further back. Maybe this could help with the traffic flow. Of course, also remove the traffic lights for it. Let's quickly check where these cars are going. So the cars coming from the highway are all moving into the city. It's the same with these cars. Interestingly enough, there would be another option to use this route here underground to circumvent this roundabout. Let's try if another of these not so well solutions could work in resolving some of the traffic issues. Let's see if this alternative option does anything. Cars can now drive right here on a one-way street and come out here at the end of this district. But even I just built this, but the traffic jam here resolved anyway, which is quite nice. So let's also remove again. After just waiting a tiny bit, this traffic jam here almost resolved. I mean, the roundabout is quite clear. There's just a lot of cars waiting here in this street, but I guess that's fine. Healthcare in this district is just a matter of traffic, so that should resolve soon as well. And then of course we have the education issues. We already know how to resolve that with some dedicated schools. Yeah, traffic here is looking really nice now, and it is really the pedestrians, because the traffic jam is now here created where there is the pedestrian crossing. So let's try to create a bridge. Somehow it's surprisingly hard to build these bridges, and now that I got one in, people aren't even using it. I mean, comparatively to the amount of people that were crossing the street here before. And there's still people crossing right here at the roundabout instead of using this beautiful bridge contraption. But I mean, I made the offer to you. Checking back in on the elementary school. This one is under capacity, so that's good. We have a new traffic jam here. I'm not sure if it's just from people moving in, but maybe we can do something like this, because I see a lot of people just turning right. Let's remove the traffic lights as well as the pedestrian crossings for it. And now for some reason cars are turning around here. I don't want that to happen. This is really annoying. Why are you going here over the double yellow line? Like, why? Why are you doing this? I mean, this creates a really annoying traffic jam. But some cars can just speed through here as intended, that's nice. But some are just turning around here. And this car is just stopping here because it can't find an entrance to turn around. Now it's fixed. I think. There's a traffic light. Maybe I can remove that again. Okay, I think I fixed it by clicking on this road segment instead of this road segment for not allowing this turn. I think this resolved some of the issues. We have mostly taxis here, so once people are moved in, that is resolved as well. And oh, look at this. What happened here? What are you guys doing? This is a major traffic accident, but let's ignore it and move on. We have these parts of the city somewhat fixed. I mean, we resolved the major traffic issues. Sure, some plop up here and there. We fixed most education and healthcare issues. Next, let's move along the highway to the industry area. The biggest indicator I see is the garbage piling up right here, which is interesting because the incarceration plant is right next to it. Let's give this entire thing a district as well. And then let's give it some of its own services. Let's also do a recycling center with a district just here, because the incarceration plant, I'd like for it to pick up the trash over the entire city. Even though the garbage is piling up at this oil field, it's running at 108% efficiency and it isn't even getting a debuff for it. I'm not so sure why that is, or if this is a visual glitch. And also cars of this recycling center are just like very far out, driving to remote locations. I mean, if I take a look at this one, it's driving all the way to the highway to the city back there. Even though I selected this here as its operating district. That's kind of annoying, but hopefully it fixes some of our issues here. Maybe if we add a whole nother garbage processing facility, so another recycling center that can drive everywhere just back here, maybe that helps it a bit. Technically, our garbage processing should be quite good, at least from the stats that we can see. We have our cargo harbor here. It has cargo ships arriving, that's nice. We have ships arriving right here. These are passenger ships. And we could even make a route connecting these two terminals with another passenger harbor right here, all the way over in the tourist area. Let's connect up this street. Then we need to buy some tiles, connect up these things and create a passenger line, one from the outside so new people can move in, and another one between these two terminals. And we have a bunch of new ships coming. Oh, and the Italian buildings zoned in. Let's take a look. This is how they look. I was hoping that they look a bit nicer, to be honest. I mean, it's not bad, but in the trailer they looked nicer. I guess there are some custom buildings that one could place, and these look okay, but I feel like the German buildings look better. Back to the industry area. This cargo terminal is really busy. There are tons of ships arriving, which is probably a really good thing. The trash here is still not really resolving, but I don't think I can really do anything about it. I have trash facilities all around there. Maybe I need to delete it and rebuild it. Hopefully this resolved it. This will of course take again time to level up, but maybe the trash collection is resolved with that. Then back here things are looking good. The school is under capacity, which is nice. And the last thing here that really annoys me is this bridge. I mean, I love the bridge, I love how it looks, but this connection here is horrendous. How about it connects up to here, basically like this, and then one can throw in a sky roundabout. Oh god, it looks a tiny bit better or like more interesting. But what is this? But I guess this is how it will stay. And let's check back. So there are no error indicators here. These back here are complaining about customers. It's a high density commercial building. This is not a major problem. Traffic wise, we have some problems here, but it's just an accident. So that's nice. There are still healthcare issues here, waiting for ambulance. That is interesting because there's the hospital here and it even has the helipad. It's running at 77% efficiency. Oh, because the service budget is low. Let's take a look at that. So healthcare budget was not at 100%. I checked all of the other ones. The other ones are fine. Maybe that resolves it. Now suddenly all these indicators disappeared. There's no more problems here. And back over in the low density area, things are looking great as well. So this is my first ever city. I think we did a lot of improvements on it, visual as well as functionally. But of course, it still doesn't look that great connected. There would still be a lot of work to do to fix things. Let me know what you would do in the city or what you would tackle next. Maybe build a new area or fix a specific area. Or what I'd really like to do, if you have a city, maybe with a lot of traffic issues or that is not profitable, I'd love for you to share it with me. Share it via Paradox Workshop and write me a comment. I'd love to try fixing it. I hope you liked this video and happy gaming.